This weekend does indeed mark the beginning of Santa Fe Opera's 2009 season. And KSFR's Rachel Kennedy asked the question, how do altos and altitude mix?
It's opera season. Since 1957, music lovers have come from all over the world to experience opera at the dramatic Adobe Theater in New Mexico's high desert. The Santa Fe Opera is unique in many ways, one of which is the altitude at which the singers must perform. Dr. Paul DiStefano treats many of the opera singers during the season. He says it's more stressful for them to perform here than in other cities.
Coming to an altitude of 7,000 feet is going to be significantly more stressful than singing at sea level, and even more stressful than singing at 5,000 feet, like, say, where Denver or Albuquerque would be.
David Holloway, the director of the Apprentice Singers program at the Santa Fe Opera, advises young singers to the effects they may have to the high altitude.
You're shorter of breath when you get here, and I tell the young singers, I say, it's going to be 3 weeks before you start feeling like your old self. Some people do it quicker than that, and some people recover quite quickly. Other people, it takes even longer. It's not, it really depends on their personal constitution, I find, in a lot of cases. But even when one is fully acclimatized, let's say, to Santa Fe, you're still short of breath. It still takes more breath than you would have at sea level. So that whenever you're singing something, especially something that's long and sustained, you frequently have to find places to sneak breath in order to do the performance that you're capable of doing.
Keith Jameson, a principal singer at the Santa Fe Opera, will be performing in both La Traviata and The Letter. He recalls his first time coming to the city different.
The first summer that I came out as an apprentice, I was staying at a hotel that first week, and climbing the stairs, I was just out of breath, and I thought, what is this? And since then, I've discovered that once I get here, I usually join the gym and start a workout routine. And the last couple of summers, I've been running quite a bit or doing a lot of aerobic exercise at the gym. For me, I think to get here and immediately try to start working out is very good for me.
Dr. DiStefano says the physical demands on the singers are great.
They're singing actors, and so they're not just singing, they're actually moving on stage and, sometimes having to climb steps to get to areas on stage. So there are physical demands, made on them that would be over and above the average friend or tourist.
Keith Jameson describes the physical demands of La Traviata this summer.
We are climbing over lots of boxes, different size boxes, different heights, and it is very physical. And I think that's one reason why I try to get out and start working out immediately, aerobically, just to get used to things here, because you never know what you're going to be called on to do.
Jameson describes how the altitude affected performers at the opera in 2005.
The Turandot that we did in 2005, the second act, most of us had to stand for a good 30 minutes without moving. And we did have a few people that fainted or that had to sort of leave the stage because they were feeling lightheaded. And that just it's physical, but it's also the altitude.
Like you might see at a football game, some performers may use oxygen during a production.
Years ago, as an apprentice, John Crosby was a little short of breath. And it was in 99 we were doing Ariadne auf Naxos. And he had an oxygen tank with him in the pit conducting with the oxygen because he was just so lightheaded. And I've known singers that have had the oxygen backstage to help them get through certain performances because they were feeling lightheaded.
The good news is that the lack of oxygen in Santa Fe will actually help the singers when they return to sea level.
That when they come back from Santa Fe and, sing, say, at the Met in New York City, that the fact that they've been at Santa Fe caused their lung production and their stamina to be that much higher. It's kind of like a natural blood doping.
The altitude and the dryness aren't the only things that make performing here unique. Jameson explains.
The theater is outdoors, and some people have to get used to that. I actually love it. And it's, the stage is open at the back to the elements, and so sometimes you have to deal with 40-degree weather in June during rehearsals, or high wind, or sometimes rain, or, storms come through, and you just sort of have to get used to it.
Alcohol has a greater effect at high altitude, and spicy food might best be avoided too.
You have to be careful about the food. Certain people they have certain reactions to very spicy food, and New Mexico is sort of known for their spicy foods. I love it here. This is my 7th summer, and the food and the people and everything out here, I just love.
Keith Jameson, principal singer for the Santa Fe Opera. For KSFR News, I'm Rachel Kennedy.